This is the cool coins experiment. You're going to see why it's so cool, this experiment. You're going to need 3 coins, as you can see here. Now I'm using British 2p pieces, okay, so 3 coins. And I suggest large coins for this one. So 3 coins, and as you can see I've got it on a piece of, this is a serviette actually, so a piece of kitchen roll would be fine. Okay, and as you can see, I'd put mine on a paper plate, but an ordinary plate, a ceramic plate or something would be fine. So put them next to each other, so there's just a small gap between them like this, about a centimetre or so. Doesn't have to be exact, so just make sure there's a definite gap though. What I want you to do is remove the middle one, okay? Then I want you to take these and put them in the freezer compartment of your refrigerator. Put them in the freezer and leave them in the freezer for about 30 minutes, okay? So leave them in the freezer for about 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Take them out, and I want you to do the next bit pretty swiftly because things are changing temperature. I want you to take them out, put them back on the table, quickly get the coin you didn't put in, put it back where it was originally, 3 fingers and touch 1, 2, 3, and notice the temperature it feels. Notice what temperatures you can feel coming into the 3 fingers. Off you go. Well, when I first did this experiment, and whenever I do it now, of course, when I do that, rather surprisingly to me, they all feel cold. All the coins feel cold. I expected those 2 to feel really cold and that one not to feel cold at all, but they all feel cold. So what's going on? Well, here's a really interesting experiment. It's one of the few experiments that I know right now, at this moment in time, where as far as I can find out, nobody knows for sure why this strange thing happens. Why is it they all feel the same? Because surely that should feel different. Well, there's some clues possibly. Of course we know that our fingers and our skin are covered in little sensors that can sense temperature change, okay? So, and some of those sensors are good at sensing coldness, some are good at sensing hotness or warmth. And of course when you touch these with your fingertips, the 2 that have come out of the freezer are obviously very cold. They've been in there for ages. They're probably, it depends on how your freezer is set, but it's going to be between probably -17 to -20 degrees Celsius. It's pretty cold in a freezer at home. So that's the temperature they are. That's why they feel cold. But of course the mystery is, how come that one doesn't feel cold? Because those sensors still work. All we can think is that for some reason your brain doesn't seem to be able to tell the difference between the temperatures on fingers on the same hand, okay? We do know, and here's a clue for a variable, we do know if I'd done it with different hands, it's easier to tell the differences. Maybe 1 finger off one and a couple off the other hand, it's easier to tell the differences. But for some reason, your brain finds it hard to tell the temperature coming from fingers possibly from the same hand and so close to each other on your body. But of course then the question becomes, but why should it feel that as same temperature as the other 2? Well again, it's a bit of a mystery, but what we're thinking is going on is for some reason your brain has decided, well, just to combine all the senses and give you one sensation of what it thinks it should be. Because it can feel a very definite coldness coming up from somewhere, or rather heat leaving your fingers going into it. You can feel that really easily. So maybe your brain thinks, well, I can feel it really cold, it must be cold all there, and all around those fingers, so I'll make it feel cold to every single finger. But to be honest, I'm not quite sure right now. I wonder if you could think of another explanation. Okay, what about some other things you could try, particularly if you're going to try and come up with your own theory to explain. And of course, by the time you see this film, maybe they have got the answer, and if they do, I'll try and get it to you on my website. But have a think of things you could experiment with to see. Well, of course, I gave you a clue for the first one, didn't I? How about using fingers from different hands? So, for example, do that and that. 2 fingers from one hand and 1 from the other, or other combinations. What about, rather than using 3 fingers in a row, use maybe, say, your thumb, your middle finger and your little finger. I wonder what difference that would make. That'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it? What about if we use coins of different sizes? Now here I've used fairly large coins, of course. You can get larger coins, depends on what currency you're using, and you can get much smaller ones. Okay, certainly in Britain we can. So try it with different size coins. I wonder if it's something to do with the coin, the disc itself. It's just a disc of metal, isn't it? I wonder what would happen if we used something different. I don't know, for example, how about getting 3 egg cups, 2 with freezing cold water, 1 with just ordinary room temperature water in the middle. So 2 egg cups, 1 with freezing cold, 1 with ordinary, and put fingers and see if it still works. I'll leave you to figure out a few more things.